So the other day I was on a crochet site and somebody was talking about how they were doing a particular stitch. While I was watching them, they did something interesting. And don't mind my big hook. Which I think is something that happens to a lot of people. So in crochet, there is yarn over and there are yarn unders. And let's talk about the difference of these in your crochet. So here we have a little piece of crochet that I did a row of yarn overs and a row of yarn overs, yarn unders, and yarn overs. So the first row is a yarn over and the second row is a yarn under. And what I immediately noticed the difference is that the yarn overs are much tighter stitches, much nicer stitches. The yarn unders are, maybe because they're sloppy and I did them, they're just so big. They're much looser stitches, in my opinion. I don't know. Do you see how the difference of the structure this looks? See how this stitch looks compared to this stitch? It's very interesting. So in crochet we have yarn over, where we take the yarn that's behind the hook up around the hook. And then yarn unders are when you're wrapping the yarn around from the front of the hook to the back of the hook. So we're doing a yarn over. That is typically the correct way to make a chain stitch, a single crochet stitch, and so forth. So here I turned my work. I like to put my work into my working yarn in the back. And now, so a yarn over, let's do this manually. Yarn over, put it through there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. I'm just doing a half double crochet. Do you see this? Yarn over, put through, yarn over. I say this to myself actually sometimes when I'm crocheting to make sure that I'm really doing this. Yarn over, pull through. So that's what my yarn over stitches look like. Yarn over. See, that would be a yarn under. Yarn over, yarn over. When you get more natural at this, it's going to be like one of those just intuitive things. You're just going to know. Yarn over, yarn over. Your hook is going to automatically kind of rotate as you go through to grab the yarn. Somebody said snatch it. I thought that was an interesting way to say grab the yarn. But yeah, so you're snatching the yarn with your hook. In essence, you know, yarn over, yarn over. I think half doubles are just, they got a lot of yarn overs and a compact little stitch. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, yarn over, yarn over. I feel like a broken record. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over. I'm trying to do this kind of slow. See, yarn over, put through. And your yarn's automatically behind your yarn over the hook, yarn over the hook. That's what a yarn over is, yarn over the hook, yarn over the hook. Now we're going to talk about yarn unders. So yarn under is when your yarn is coming from underneath the hook to wrap around. So wrapping around like that. You see, it's kind of difficult to hold your yarn. So here's a yarn over, put it through the stitch, yarn over, yarn under. See, we'll put it through in the front, yarn under, yarn under. And see how that stitch kind of twisted up there? So let's do that again. So that's a yarn under. You kind of have to hold it if you want to go through there, through the stitch. Yarn under, yarn. Yeah, see this? I'm trying to do a yarn over. Yarn under, yarn under. This is actually kind of having to be deliberate. Yarn under. And this makes it very difficult actually if you're not hooking the yarn around your hook. You're yarning under, yarning under. So do you see it? Yarn under, yarn under, yarn under. Now there are times that yarn unders are used. Like I said, you know, like they make interesting stitches. They add a different texture. It's not very common to use a yarn under. It's actually kind of cumbersome to me. And so you can see the difference kind of in the stitches. So here's like that first yarn over row, and then here's this yarn under row. And the structure of the stitch is a little different because of the way that the yarn is being knotted, because technically crochet is making knots to make the fabric instead of like knitting. They're not really knots in the same sense of a knot. And so I think that's one of the reasons why some people get frustrated, is that they're trying to think about yarning over, but they're really yarning under, and they're drawing their hook. So that's why one of the things too, I think why the way that I crochet works with the way that I knit too, because I mean, I'm still like doing the whole yarn over process in a different style. See how that stitch looks way different? You can see the difference on the back side too. I thought that was just interesting. So think about when you're crocheting, are you yarning over, going over the hook, or are you trying to yarn under and pull through? So like here I'm trying to make a chain, and I'm trying to yarn under. And that's kind of hard. See how that's not really working out so well? So when we're making a chain, we're yarning over, pulling through the hook, yarning over, pulling through the hook, yarning over, pulling through the hook. This is a yarn under, and we're trying to pull through the hook. See, this is why this is difficult. Yarn under, pull through the loop, yarn under, pull through the loop. And see how the stitches look different here too, with the yarn unders and then the yarn overs. They're kind of twisty. So let me know how have you been crocheting? Are you trying to do the yarn unders and getting frustrated, and that's why your pieces aren't turning out? And you've needed to adjust. And people say that there's no real wrong way to crochet. And while I can say there's no real wrong way, you definitely know when there's a right way to do something. If your pieces don't look the same as like the patterns that you're calling for. See, those were my yarn enders. And those are my yarn overs in the chains. So practice saying to yourself, yarn over, yarn over,